FundedNext Futures just dropped some new rules. A lot of drama coming out. So are we cooked with these new rules? So in this video, I'm going to give a brutally honest opinion and cover the changes and what they mean. And I don't care that I'm affiliated with FundedNext. I'm going to just be honest about the changes and just be brutally honest about the changes, So we're going to, go and cover which accounts got cooked and how I will be trading them moving forward. And is FundedNext still good? Is it a firm that I'm still going to be trading with in the future? Side note, guys, we knew this was coming in my last video that I covered with FundedNext. I was telling you guys that it was too good to last. Like these rules and this exact thing that's happening right now, I said that exactly in my video when I covered FundedNext. This is honestly to be expected. It is what it is. We knew that this was coming. The rules were just way too favorable with FundedNext. They were a new firm, at least to the future space. And we just knew this wouldn't last. So it kind of is what it is. Let's just talk about it and, how we're going to move forward with this and if they're still a good firm. So let's just get right to it. Let's go over the emails and see what's changed. So the first rule that's changed, they hit us with the good news first. The consistency rule is removed after passing the legacy challenge only, right? So this is actually really, really good. Now you still do have to hit those minimum 5 benchmark days for your first payout. After, you don't have to hit those benchmark days, and you have to have at least 500 profit in the current cycle, but it's no consistency rule. So that's absolutely a really, really good change and really strong, right? So that is the good news. Now the bad news, or the thing that's changed, is now they have a withdrawal limit. Now you guys know in my last video when I was covering FundedNext, we were talking about how they're really good because you can only take out 50% of your profit. But if you let's say you made a 100K in profit, you could literally take out 50K because that's 50K is 50% of 100. But now they capped all that, right? So now we have on the 25K legacy accounts, the cap is $3,000. On the 50K, the cap is $6,000. And on the 100K, the cap is also $6,000. In my video, I was telling you guys before, the only two good products that they had was the 25K and the 50K. And we'll talk about that here, why that is in a minute. But the 100K having the same withdrawal limit as the 50K, again, just kind of further confirms that the 100K is still pretty bad. It's still bad, in my opinion, at least compared to the other products that they have on their platform. So again, it's just making the 50K shine a little bit more there, but that is the bad news there. So now here's another really big change that they had, and it's going to be viewed as negative for most people for sure, especially from our perspective as traders. And that's going to be the rapid, and the legacy is updated for only 80% instead of 100%. So you guys know, again, in my video previously that I made covering them, you used to get a 100% of your profit rewards. Now, again, I didn't think that could really last too long, but at least I was hoping that it could be like 90%, or maybe you get a first, like the first 5 to 10K, you get a 100%, then they drop it to 80. But now it's just a flat 80%. So not the best. That's not the best in my opinion, but it is what it is. So that is the second change. Now the third change, and this really cooked these 25K accounts in my opinion. Now the 25K rapid max loss limit is $1,000, and the legacy max loss limit is $1,000. So again, we're going to talk about what that means for these accounts, but just know that it just made the accounts not really make sense anymore. I think what was happening was people were making too much money with those 25K accounts, because I actually got a couple 25K accounts myself, and now they just nerfed them into the ground. So it doesn't really make sense to really buy 25K accounts anymore. And again, we'll talk about what that really means here in a second. They were just losing too much money on those, and they got to nerf it a little bit. So it is what it is. One thing, there was a lot of tears and a lot of crying on Twitter about this, and people were just like really mad about the changes. Now they literally said in the email, if you already have an active futures challenge or FundedNext account, rest assured you'll continue under the same terms and benefits you started with. So this starts on November the 21st, right? So if you got your accounts previously, no need to worry, right? Because a lot of people on Twitter were crying. They were saying, oh, I bought these accounts for this reason. I built them up to this, to this amount or whatever. Now you're saying I won't be able to withdraw. They quite literally said, clearly stated in the email, and they put it in bold, that if you bought your accounts before, you'll be under the same rule. So those are grandfathered in. This is for new accounts purchased or reset after the 21st. So calm down. If you have an accounts before, you're totally fine, right? So yeah, so honestly, a lot of like negative changes or changes that will be seen as like less favorable to the traders. But let's talk about it. So in my opinion, what they really did was they absolutely cooked the 25K accounts. Like I said, I think people were just like running those 25K accounts up like way too hard, and they just nerfed them into the ground, man. Like it doesn't really make sense to buy 25Ks anymore. And let's talk about why. In my last video, you'll know that what we do here is we like to divide the maximum profit goal, and this is the new maximum loss limit for the 25Ks, which is 1,000. And you get this number here. You get 1.5 here now, and this is what makes it how difficult it is to pass, right? So normally with other firms, or what you normally see with 25K accounts, usually 25K accounts have a 1-to-1 profit goal to target. So normally it'll be like your profit goal is 1,500, but you can lose 1,500, and that makes it easier to pass. Now it's a 1.5, so it's 50% harder to pass, and you only get 3 cons, right? Versus, look, the 50K now is the same difficulty to pass as the 25K. So it doesn't make sense anymore, right? Like, why would you get this? And also you get 67% more size in contracts. Again, I think they just literally priced it to make it to where, people wouldn't want to get it anymore. So in my opinion, it doesn't really make sense to get 25K accounts. And in this case, you can see here, the 25K account is only a little bit more difficult to pass here. So it's 1.25 on the legacy. But if you look at the legacy 50K, it's easier. So the legacy 50K is literally easier than the legacy 25K. So they don't want you trading 25Ks, basically, in my opinion. They're probably going to remove this product, because to do something like this, to make your 50K product more difficult, a product that has more leverage, more difficult than a product that has less leverage, they're just basically saying like they losing money on it and they don't want people to trade it. That's the only thing that I can see, because it just absolutely makes no sense to buy 25K anymore, in my opinion. So 25Ks, RIP. I was trading with 25Ks. I have some 25Ks that I passed, but any new accounts that I get with them will be only 50Ks, right? The 100Ks are a bad product as well, because the difficulty is like greatly increased versus the 50K, and also it has like 1 or 2 more contracts or something like that. So the 100Ks are way more difficult, and you barely get any extra leverage, and it has the same cap as the 50K as well. So, or the best products now is just to get the 50Ks with them. Other than that, it doesn't really make sense anymore. So that's just the reality of the situation, right? So would I say they're a bad firm now? No, they still are a very good firm, and they have very good products. So their 50Ks is still one of the fastest paths to payout, but it's just not as busted as it used to be before, right? So again, they're not just as overwhelmingly good as they were before with all the changes, but still no buffer. This is what I really like about them as well, because when you trade other prop firms, you still got to still trade so long to get over that buffer, right? Before you can take anything out over that buffer. Here, they still don't have a buffer, and you can pass it in one day. And also the consistency rule is removed on funded, which is still very, very good. And they have end of day trailing drawdown on the funded stage and also the eval stage. So their 50K account products are still very, very good in my opinion. But yeah, they just absolutely nuked the 25Ks. They don't make sense anymore. So the best option right now with them is 50K Rapid or Legacy. Both of those are still really good firms in my opinion. So are we cooked? No, but again, we knew these changes were going to come. They were too good to be true, too good to last for a long time. This is exactly what I said in the last video when I made them a couple weeks ago. But it is what it is. We make these changes, and we kind of like adjust to it. That's the prop firm game. That's why I say with prop firms, not your funds, not your capital, until you actually take that money out and put it in your pocket. So it's just part of the game. So if you still want to trade with FundedNext, you can get the best discount with that link in the description with FundedNext Futures. And also as well, you can use the code DTRADES at checkout to save yourself like 5 to 10%. I can't remember exactly how much it is, but you can save yourself a little bit on any account that you choose to buy with FundedNext as well. So that's pretty much it for this one. What do you think about the changes? Do you think we're cooked? Are you still going to trade with them? Are you not going to trade with them? How does this make you feel? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.